Hi, I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson, Millionairess mentor and editor-in-chief for the Millionairess magazine, and welcome to today's podcast. And if you are new to the podcast, then thanks for joining me. And if you're a regular, then of course, welcome back. You will get lots of value today. The Millionairess Mentor podcast is dedicated to turning entrepreneurial women into a millionairess from the inside out and enriching lives for generations to come. Enjoy today's question from Nicole. It can and will guide you to the success that you truly want and deserve for you and your family. And of course, be sure to have your journal on hand and a nice cuppa, because I have some fabulous questions that will truly help you bridge the gap of where you are to where you want to be years sooner. Let's jump right on in. Hello. I will give you a moment to jump on and join me for today's podcast, beautiful ladies. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a great one today. I hope you've got your journal, ladies. You will be taking notes because I'm going to give you a little, I don't even like to call it homework. Let's call it progress steps towards your goals, for bridging the gap of where you are to where you want to get to, really is what I want to say here. Because we've got a great question from Nick or Nicole that I want to answer. And I think it's a question that every entrepreneur, in fact, every person asks themselves at some stage, because even if you're in a job or a career, at some point in time, we question ourselves, should I quit this job or quit this career and just go out on my own? I can probably do it better. I can probably make more money starting my own business than, working for a company who doesn't get me, doesn't appreciate me, making other people rich. I know how it all works. I've been there myself. But there's a couple of things that we need to take into consideration before we just jump into any old business, which is the question behind the question for Nick today. So I'm going to read out the question, and then I'm going to give some insights based on my wisdom, my experience in the trenches of being in business for 30 years, or understanding this entrepreneurial journey, which is a roller coaster. It is not a straight and narrow road by any stretch of the imagination. But what I share with you today, I'm sure will help you overcome the problem of not feeling adequate. So let me read out this question from Nicole, and then I'll jump right in. Here it is. Amanda, how do I know what my true purpose is when I keep getting distracted by bright, shiny objects or comparing my results with others? I'm feeling miserable and like I'm being left behind. Wow, give me a sign if you have felt like that at any time in your job or your career, or even on your entrepreneurial pathway. I know as an entrepreneur, I have felt these emotions so many times I couldn't even count them. And so first thing I want to say, Nick, is that you're not alone. And I believe Nicole could be on the call today or be jumping on, because I only got this question yesterday. This is a great question. And so understanding your true purpose, there's a few layers I want to get to on this question. So again, make sure you've got your journal and you start writing notes, because it is critical that we understand before we jump into any business to know these things and answer these questions to save ourselves years of heartache, money that we could have invested into helping us reach our goals and dreams, not waste it. But worse than that, losing our confidence, losing our way, not knowing what to do. I wish I'd have had this help. And so understanding our true purpose, how do we stop comparing ourselves with everybody else? And oh my God, with the internet, how easy is it to compare ourselves with everybody else? And that next shiny object syndrome. How many of us, including me, how many of you have invested or bought different programs thinking that you're going to get rich overnight, or get rich quick schemes, or you've been made a promise that you can have success in a short amount of time without that business really being aligned to who you are, or that business being right for you, or you're not really enjoying what you're doing. Has anyone had that experience? Because I know I have. So here's the very first thing that I would say to anybody who is truly trying to understand what their purpose is and stop getting off that merry-go-round. And it becomes a habit, an addictive habit for some people to keep buying into the next shiny object, because what that does, it sets you up for a life of misery, because all you're doing is constantly comparing yourself. So the very thing I do, the first thing I would say to do is a self-analysis. And this is where most people go, well, I don't want to do a self-analysis, Amanda. I just want to get the business. I just want the money coming in. But here's what I want to say. The money only comes in when we evaluate ourselves, because our net worth is exactly in proportion to our self-worth. What do I mean by that? First of all, our self-worth needs to be taken care of. We need to consider ourselves before we consider what business is right for us, what is going to create something, what we are going to be able to create in the future that is long-term and sustainable. And so what I would say is, and this is what I've had to do, is be willing to learn to let go of needing to be liked by other people, needing to fit in with what other people think or say is right for us, and so that we can stand up and stand out to grow our net worth. You need to be able to stand up and stand out. Write that down. It is so critical, because if we continue to live a life where we feel that we have to fit in, subordinate to other people, constantly compare our results with other people's results, then we're always looking on the outside for our success, on the outside to grow our net worth and our wealth, rather than first of all looking on the inside. And the biggest problem is, and I've learnt this along many, many years of going through it myself, is our ego. We allow the outside world to rule our inside world. And after a while, we literally stop thinking for ourselves. We stop asking ourselves what's important for us, what's important for my future, for my family's future. And what we tend to do, and give me a sign or a love heart or a tears or something, if you have found yourself constantly looking at people around you and saying to yourself, wow, they're successful, I should do what they're doing. They're making a heap of money, I should do what they're doing. They seem to have their life all figured out, I should copy them. Or they're going out with a certain person, I should go out with that type of person or start that type of business. And so what happens over time is, when we do that, based on social conformity or influence from the people we hang out with, is that we start to think and act like other people, instead of asking ourselves, wow, how do I want to think? How do I want to act? How do I want my life to turn out to be? And so we actually don't even realize or forget that we each have our own purpose. What is a purpose? Our purpose is our inner guidance system that helps us realize what we have within us, our gifts and our talents, that in time we could cultivate and craft to be able to turn into an opportunity that can be created into a business. So where I want to go with this particular question today, specifically for Nick, is I know that she is asking as an entrepreneur, what is my purpose? How can I stop chasing other people's bright, shiny objects because I'm miserable? I'm spinning my wheels. I'm going nowhere fast. And, honestly, I've been there so many times myself, and I believe everyone on this podcast today has probably had the same experience or is experiencing something different. And so here's what I would do. I look within myself. I stop, I get my journal out. This is the importance, everyone, of journaling. And most people feel, or not most people, I'll take that back. Many people who fail in business, they just want the tactic and the strategy, and they don't understand that 80% of success is an inside job. 20% of success is the tactic and the strategy. So what is the 80%? 80% begins with self-discovery or self-analysis, asking the questions, taking the time, investing into ourselves to realize what we are made of. We all have unique gifts, we all have unique talents, and we all have a unique set of values that drives our daily life. And if you're sitting there asking yourself, well, what is a value? What does that actually mean? A value is not what other people perceive it to be in terms of being a good citizen, always being nice and never mean, doing what other people want so that I look like a good person in the community, or acting a certain way, or speaking a certain way, or living a certain way, being a certain way. That is not what I'm talking about in terms of values. To really understand what your values are, and when you understand what your values are, that will help you determine what your purpose is. Your values are determined by what is important and meaningful for yourself. So I want you to write this down, because this is where true wealth is really created. True wealth, in my experience, and you may not agree with this, but this is just my experience of what I can share with you after having 14 different businesses, where only 7 of them were what I would consider truly meaningful, truly soulfully serving, truthfully impactful, not only for myself, for the people I served, were based on what I'm going to share with you today. And what I'm going to share with you today, and how I became what some people may consider successful in life and business, but what I consider, I'm nowhere near there yet. I have got such a long way to go. However, but when I wake up every day, I truly, truly love what I get to do. I love getting to serve the people that I get to serve. I love the business that I'm in. And this is what I want for other people. To be able to start and scale a business that is truly aligned with you means that, first of all, you must know yourself. You must know what drives you, what your values are, and therein lies your true purpose. And that comes before I jump into any business vehicle or next shiny object syndrome, because I've been there. In fact, 7 of my businesses were all started based on the next shiny object syndrome. Starting a business because other people said it was a good idea. Starting a business because I thought I could make fast money. Starting a business because my friend said, you should do this because we're doing this. I mean, who hasn't been there? And literally every one of them failed for all the right reasons. You see, there's no such thing as failure anyway. They're just messages from the universe to help us wake up to ourselves and ask the questions. And so what are the questions? I want to give you these questions now to help you understand who you are, what is truly important and truly meaningful for you, so that you can build a business based on your authentic self, based on what will help you stay inspired where you don't need external motivation, help you be enthusiastic where you haven't got someone standing over your shoulder saying, what have you done? Why haven't you done that? This will never work out for you. Building a business that you are present in, that you absolutely love and that you feel grateful for. This is the type of business that I'm talking about. And when you truly get to understand your own values or your own purpose, here's what I can promise you, Nicole, and everyone listening to this, is that you will never ever suffer or fall into the trap of that next shiny object syndrome again. And you are less likely to continually compare yourself with other people, because that is the basis of feeling miserable. If you feel miserable about your life, your financial situation, your relationships, your career, anything, your business, anything in life, if you are feeling miserable, then chances are you are comparing yourself with other people. You're comparing yourself with what society believes is right for you, and you've forgotten who you are. You're not looking within to find the gifts that you have within you. It is true. We all have gifts and talents. And so when I talk about values or gifts and talents, here's a set of questions that I ask myself, because people say to me, I don't know what my values are, Amanda. I don't know what my real purpose is. And I would say the simplest and easiest way for me to explain this is ask yourself a small bunch of questions, or ask yourself how specifically you are spending your time, your energy, and your money, because actions speak a whole lot louder than your words. So you may be saying that you want this type of business or this type of success or this amount of money in the bank or this relationship or whatever, but unless your actions are specifically leading towards that outcome, then you may be telling yourself a bunch of fibs or be in the habit of just saying what other people expect you to say. And I know that used to be me for so many years. And so when I look at myself and I ask myself, how do I spend my time? How do I spend my money? How do I spend my energy? That is the first three things. And so here's another question that I'd love for you to write in your journal, Nicole, and every one of you listening to this. If you still feel like you haven't found your purpose or the right business vehicle for you if you're an entrepreneur, or the right relationship or the right anything, when you get your paycheck every week or you make some money, what do you spend it on? And if you don't know what you spend it on, look around your house, look at the things you have around you. Where does your money go? That is the first question, because money goes to things that we value the most. And this is why I'm asking this particular question. We always have an amount of money, disposable income, or on credit for the things that we find important and meaningful, which takes me back to purpose and value. That means what is important and meaningful for you internally, not externally. So what do you spend your money on? That's the first question. The next question I would ask you, Nicole, is this. What do you think about most of the time? Or what is your absolute favorite subject that if you get on a roll, you cannot stop talking about, you love to talk about, you hope other people will talk about with you? What would that be? When you're alone and you've just got time out, what is it that you're thinking about? Write it down in your journal, because it helps you analyze who you really are, perhaps who you've forgotten who you are. And we all go through this. We live such busy lives with so much data and information coming our way that we just forget to think, and we forget to know who we are authentically. And we have this mask on and we just don't know how to get it off. And I would, again, urge you to answer these questions that I'm going to give you now before you jump into any business vehicle. And I'll tell you why in a minute. The next question, number 3. What do you love to, I've already covered that, authentically talk about the most? Now, when I say authentically talk about the most, not what you're forced to talk about the most, not what other people want you to talk about the most, not what your friends or family want you to talk about, or your business associates, or social influencing, but think about it. What do you authentically, truly love to talk about? Next question. What is it that you love to do without needing an ounce of external motivation? I think that question is so vitally important to your long-term success, because if you are a person that often says, I need somebody to motivate me, I need somebody to keep me accountable, then you are in probably the wrong business, the wrong career, the wrong relationship, the wrong everything. Because if you are truly inspired from within, you do not need motivation. You might be in a mastermind group or a mentoring group, but that's okay. That's different than needing motivation. Is when you need to cajole somebody, or you need to be cajoled to get something done, to get a particular outcome. So ask yourself the question, what is it that you absolutely love to do that nobody needs to tap you on the shoulder for, nobody needs to remind you to do? You just get up, and if you had nothing else to do and you had $15 million in the bank or $100 million in the bank, what is it that you would get up and do that you just absolutely love? You can't get enough of it. It might be a hobby or a craft or music that you play or cooking or a certain type of business. It might be, a coaching business that you would love to start. Anything. What is it? You might be really crafty with your hands. You might love tinkering with cars, crafts and arts. What is it that you truly are inspired to do? Next question. When you look at your immediate surroundings, what is it that you love to keep close to you? For example, I love personal education. I love education of all sorts of things in business and self-empowerment. So I have hundreds and hundreds of books and courses. I fill my spaces with books. I'm always reading. I'm always plugging in. I love my business. I'm always mentoring and speaking. They're the sort of things I love. I'm also, my number one value, for instance, is my health and my well-being. So I have a home gym in my home. So these are the things we keep close to us. You might have your children that you love to be surrounded with all the time, or certain things, arts and crafts, your piano, or whatever you're in. You might have cars in the driveway that you love to tinker on, or anything you love. What is it that you love to keep close to you that is really very, very important? For instance, my husband, his number one value is surfing. He collects surfboards. So when he gets money, he loves to invest in surfboards, things like that. So where does your money go, and what do you have in your immediate surroundings? They are things that will give you hints. Next question. What books, what TV shows or different types of shows, what podcasts do you love to learn from the most, or do you love to listen to the most? So think about it. This is where you are spending your time, your energy, and your money. It's starting to give you a hint of what your true values are and a hint of what your true purpose is, because your purpose is aligned with your values. This is the easiest way for me to explain it. Forget the outside world for a moment. Just take yourself away into a quiet space after this podcast and answer the questions. You may discover something about yourself that you have kept hidden or kept pushed down inside of you for years and years. And this, my friend, is why you're feeling probably miserable, like you're spinning the wheels, constantly comparing yourself, because you haven't given yourself that gift of time to be authentic, to allow your hidden gifts and talents to come to the surface and create an opportunity for other people to perhaps learn from you. But let's get back to these questions. So the last one was, what books, shows, and podcasts and things like that do you truly love listening to the most and learning from? And the next question, what do you share in common with the people you love spending time with the most? So think about this, not the people that you pretend you want to be around because you need to be seen in the right company or the right circles of influence or at the right party. Think about this. If you authentically got to spend time with people you really love spending time with, what do you share in common? I love that question. My favorite type of people to hang around, I have two types of people that I truly, truly love authentically being around. I'm a very social person, so I have a great bunch of social friends, and we share things in common like boating and socializing, and well, we call it partying, but our partying is a day barbecue sort of thing. But what we have in common is we love to talk about business and entrepreneurship and, our goals and our dreams and what we want to achieve in life. We have these conversations in common, and that binds us together. So sometimes we get into circles and we pretend we're interested. We're trying to pretend we're somebody that we're not, and we try and fit in. You know the difference. So I'm talking about the people that you really authentically love to be around the most. What do you share in common? Next question. What subject do you know the most about? Now, I'm not talking about a job or a career that you don't love, or maybe you do love it, that's okay. But what do you know most about? So if you were to ask me, I know most about health and well-being because that's my highest value. And I know most subjects about personal development and business. And that's my whole life is this. So I've brought it into one. And the third thing, of course, I love socializing. So I know how to socialize because I love it. So what is it that you know most about? Is it about your hobby? Is it about your side hustle or about the business that you would truly love to eventually create wealth in? What is it that you know most about? That'll give you a hint on what your values are and what your true life purpose is. And last question to help you pull out what your values are and really know what your life purpose is what in life is truly most important and meaningful for you? Now, this is a question where sometimes we have been trained by society, external influences, how we were brought up, the society or the community that we're brought up in, different religions, different parents, different teachers, to say, this is most important, my kids or my family or that person or my beliefs, where in fact it may not be the truth for you. And this is why I say this is a great exercise to do alone in your journal. Write the questions, write the answers down, and you don't need to share it with anybody else because sometimes we go through life living a lie, living lives of quiet desperation. And in fact, more than 70% of the population are truly unhappy with their life because they don't answer the truth if we were to ask these questions. So ask yourself, and I'm going to be straight up and honest here. For me, my dreams of freedom and creating a business and a life that I truly love living and serving people and being a speaker and, being on stage and impacting people's lives all around the world was more important for me than having my own family or my own children. Now, I know that some people will judge me for that. It is the truth. And I got judged and ridiculed most of my young life for not having children. However, I knew as a very young girl, because I brought up other people's children, we grew up in a house where we had underprivileged children, welfare kids come and live with us. And from age 10 or 11, it was my job to take care of these underprivileged children or undercared for kids and bring them up for 3 to 4 months at a time. And this went on for years and years until I left home at 16. I am so grateful for that time in my life. So I got to be a mother to other people's children from the age of 10. But what other people on the outside didn't understand, they didn't know that I'd had that upbringing. And so when I made it clear or public that I had no intentions of having my own children, in fact, I'm still a mother to thousands of people in a different way because nothing is missing, I got ridiculed though and judged because people's perceptions of what should be right for me. And this is what happens to so many people. I'm only sharing this story with you because I want you to understand the importance and how your life can go on a different trajectory if you are honest with yourself. And you go, well, actually, this is not the most important and meaningful thing for me, what others perceive is right for me, or my teachers or my parents or my religion and things like that. And I'm not judging anyone for their beliefs. Don't get me wrong here. But isn't it time we start to look on the inside and ask ourselves the questions of what we want our life to look like, to be like, what we want to have in our life? And so for me, I went through so many years of judgment to live my authentic self. Was it easy? No. Did I fall down many times? Absolutely yes. Did I still get into the next bright, shiny object business because I thought that it would be right for me, even though it wasn't? Of course I did. But I still came through. I still kept working on myself, asking these questions. What do you truly want for your life? Okay. And this is what I'm asking you to do. I would rather go to the end of my days knowing that I did everything I could with everything that I had. I gave it my best shot, than go to the end of my days wondering what if, what could I have been? What could I have shared with the world that I truly wanted to, but I was too damn scared or too damn worried about what other people would think? That's how I think. That's how I live. And I'm giving you permission to be that person, to stand up and stand out by asking these questions and knowing what your values are, knowing what your true purpose is. And the next thing I would say to that, this second part to what I want to share with you today, I always believed from a young kid, or as a young kid, I always wanted my freedom. I wanted choice in life, and I wanted to be a millionaire, even though I didn't know what it meant. But I knew that the people that had the money had more choice. They had more freedom. They could do more good in the world. And I always loved the idea of impacting lives and helping other people live their dreams. And so I went along that pathway. And so I turned my problems, my difficult childhood, I left home at 16 and I had a difficult relationship with my mum and all the other sorts of things, 33 jobs. I turned my problems or my mess into a message, or my problems, as you will, into an opportunity. And so if you're listening to this, this is what I'm asking you. What opportunity have you got in front of you? What do you know? What have you learned along the pathway of your life? What are your intrinsic gifts and talents that you could cultivate and share with the world, turn into an opportunity? And so when you truly know yourself, that is the way that you build the most heartfelt, long-term and sustainable business that in time you will get gorgeously paid for. Whether you're having products or services in your business, it doesn't matter. You're getting gorgeously paid for through soulful serving. Now, see, my face is just lighting up talking about it if you're watching this, because that's coming from within. That's inspired enthusiasm, not external motivation, just because you think you're going to make a quick dollar. Because here's the truth. Your self-worth is in direct proportion to the net worth that you will attract. If you create or you start and scale a business that is authentically aligned with you from within, you will scale it up. You will probably make more money and it will be long-term sustainable, because every time you fall down, and there will be millions of times you hit the pay dirt or you hit the dirt if you have a problem, because you love what you're doing, it's coming from inspiration and enthusiasm and presence, love and gratitude, you'll be able to stand back up and keep going. Get those big girl courage pants on and keep going. But if you keep chasing that bright, shiny object, Nicole, or anyone listening to this, when you hit that dirt, it is so damn hard to get back up. You will probably quit. And in fact, you'll probably fail and you'll wonder what the hell happened. That is a sign to wake you up, to ask these questions that I just gave you, to find your own gifts and talents, find your unique service, cultivate it and take it to the marketplace. And then what happens is you'll learn from there how to make your money, because you get paid in direct proportion to the value you take to the market. So think about this, something that you truly love doing, like I do. I just love what I do so much. Then you attract the perfect customer that is happy to pay you for your products and your services. And then eventually you become your money's master and never its servant again. And you will never, ever, ever work another day in your life, Nick. And then you will stop comparing yourself with other people, because you'll have your horse blinkers on, and the only people that you'll be thinking about are the people you serve. Now, I call that soulful serving. Soulful serving means that you serve people and you help them achieve their goals, help them solve their problems. You sell in terms of their values. So you take the limelight off yourself and you focus the attention on other people. That's a whole nother podcast. But can you see how I've just turned a problem into an opportunity? And so that's what I would say to you, all of you listening to this. Answer those questions. What are your superpowers? What are you talented in? What do you absolutely love doing? And how can you turn that into a massive opportunity to help other people live their own goals and dreams? solve their problems, take away their nightmares, help them sleep better at night. And that is how you scale a heart-filled business where you will be soulfully rewarded, because that is what life is all about. That is what I truly believe. And from my experience, not only will your net worth grow, but you will be rewarded and paid financially, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally and socially. Now imagine that. Isn't that the pathway that you'll prefer to take? And I promise you, if you take the time to work, well, not to even work, but to answer these questions and truly get to know yourself before you step into your business vehicle, you can create a life truly worth living. And that's what I say, elevating your self-worth, your net worth, and your life worth, expanding your life, because as you expand your life, you get to expand other people's lives. That's the true essence of a real entrepreneur. Some of you may be going, wow, what's she on? I want some of that. Or what's she on? She sounds a bit out there. But I share this from my heart and from my experience, Nicole. I've been in your shoes so many times. I've wasted years and years of my youth trying to fit in, trying to appease other people, chasing bright, shiny objects that were useless in the end. Not the business was useless, but it was useless for the way I felt inside. I felt empty. If you feel empty, the first place to look is within. All of the answers are there, and you can truly build a business. It doesn't matter your age, your background, your education. Today could be the first day of a brand new beginning, and you can pivot very, very quickly. And in fact, I have built 7 businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, through that exact, I have a formula, of course, but that is a snippet of it, of asking those questions of myself. And never again would I ever step into a vehicle unless it was truly aligned with myself internally. And that's what I would say to you, Nicole. So I truly hope that you got invaluable information today. You wrote down all those questions and you feel a shift. Give me a sign, girls. And even guys, if you're listening to this, if you can feel a shift within, or you felt a goosebump or something within you just move when you were hearing me explain this, because not many people in the marketplace explain that it's important to align your business with your intrinsic values, your intrinsic purpose, because you've got a lifetime to live. You don't want to burn out. Burnout in business only happens when you're not aligned. Burnout in business happens to people who don't care about the people they're serving. They only care about themselves. And if anyone is listening to this and you're out there for a quick buck, well, good on you. But I don't believe long term you will be fulfilled. And sometimes people go through lives, we all have to get our lessons. And I've had so many lessons in this until I got honest with myself and started looking at myself and asking better questions. Tony Robbins says the quality of our life will be determined by the quality of the questions we ask. And so that there is my podcast today, my little dose of inspiration or my little rampage. But for you, Nick or Nicole, listening to this, I truly hope you feel inspired, because I believe in you, I understand you, and I know that if you pivot just that little bit, turn your life compass by just 1 degree and head towards the lighthouse, Nick, you will be able to go through any wild storm and still arrive to your goals and your dreams safely and in one piece, while serving other people and changing lives along the way. I promise you that. So now I'm going to lean in. I've got so many comments here. Please leave a question. Share this podcast with your friends, family, anybody you know who would truly be impacted, inspired, and would find this invaluable. This is my life's work, and all I want for you is what I have: choice, freedom, fulfillment, a meaningful life, serving other people, enriching other people's lives through your own products and your services, because that is what we are here to do. That is the purpose of life, my friends. And so I hope you found this really helpful. Please leave a comment. Let me know if this ignited a spark within you, got you fired up, gave you goosebumps, or even if you don't agree with anything I've said, I am good with that. I would still love your feedback. I'm always open for a fabulous conversation, but I thank you for joining me. And again, make the move, do the work, and I promise you, step by step, day by day, inch by inch, you will get closer to bridging the gap of where you are to where you want to be. And my beautiful ladies joining me on this podcast, thank you, girls. I hope you have a fabulous day ahead, something exciting to do. So much homework to do inside the Millionairess course for business and financial independence. And I have a couple of new millionairesses I'm going to do another welcome for inside our community. I am super, super excited about that. And I look forward to guiding all of you along the pathway to success and bridging the gap and building that financial wall around you and your family. All right, beautiful ladies, mwah, cyber hugs and kisses. And I look forward to seeing you on the inside. Bye for now. Well, as always, thank you so much for joining me. And until next week, I appreciate you tuning in to the Millionairess Mentor podcast that is dedicated to turning entrepreneurial women into a millionairess from the inside out and enriching lives for generations to come. And of course, I would be so grateful if you would just take a moment to share this podcast with your friends, family, anyone, in fact, guys and everyone are welcome, who would greatly benefit from the information that we share. And please just take 30 seconds to leave a review from wherever you download your podcast from. Lastly, to find out more about my Millionairess mentoring for entrepreneurial women, my latest book, and inspirational stories from world-leading entrepreneurial women who share their wisdom and their experience and inspiration with others like yourself, pop over and visit us at millionairessmagazine.com. And until next week, be bold, be courageous, and be fabulous. Bye for now.